How many of you have ever heard of a challenge coin? Hi, maybe a couple of hands. Until Erev Rosh Hashanah, I had no idea what this was. As I was busy getting ready for our service, making sure my book was marked, double-checking the outline, finding my robe and talit, my 6-year-old son, Rafi, came racing into my office to tell me that he just got a challenge coin from Danny, our director of security. While he was very excited about this gift, he didn't understand its significance. So as I finished my last-minute preparations, the rest of my family sat in a corner of my office studying the history behind challenge coins. That night, they learned that challenge coins date back to the Roman Empire, when soldiers were presented with coins to recognize their achievements. Today, these challenge coins generally bear an organization's emblem and represent affiliation with a specific military unit, government agency, or some other organization. A leader will give a coin as a way of marking service and belonging and commitment and responsibility. Holding the coin is a reminder, I am part of something larger. I have values to uphold. I carry honor with me wherever I go. Tonight is Shabbat Shuvah, the Sabbath of return. This Shabbat sits in the space between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Shabbat Shuvah acts like our spiritual challenge coin. It serves as a token of our identity, reminding us who we are as Jews and what we strive for. Like a challenge coin, these 10 days of awe connect us to our community. We don't do Teshuvah alone, but as part of Am Yisrael, the people of Israel. It calls us to responsibility, to live up to the values engraved on our souls: compassion, justice, kindness. It reminds us of honor, the kavod of being partners with God in shaping a more holy world. If Shabbat Shuvah gave you a coin this year, what would be engraved on it? Perhaps the word kindness, perhaps courage, perhaps forgiveness, perhaps a single mitzvah that you intend to keep this year. I spend a lot of time in my car these days, driving my kids to school, to activities, to play dates. And when my kids are in the car, we almost always listen to Story Pirates or Wow in the World, their favorite podcasts. But on the rare occasion I'm alone in my car, my preferred podcast is How I Built This, a show in which the host, Guy Raz, interviews founders of well-known successful companies about their origins and how they grew their business. Just the other day, I was listening to an episode about Nextdoor, an app for neighborhoods to share local tips and create community. And the founder shared a story about how an earlier business of his was failing. As he met with an investor and mentor to return the money, this gentleman shared a poem with him. The poem was meant to inspire, to encourage him, to challenge him to find a new way forward. The poem was If by Rudyard Kipling. I was curious about the poem, so after finishing the episode, I went searching for it. And after reading it, I too was inspired, but for a different reason. I was moved by how much this poem resonated with me at this moment in our calendar. Like our coins, this poem captures both the sense of challenge and possibility, reminding us that if we take responsibility, greatness is possible in our lives. The poem begins, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. The High Holy Days ask us to do exactly this, to stay balanced in a world that feels uncertain, and to take responsibility rather than shifting blame. Teshuvah is about refusing to point fingers outward, but instead looking inward with honesty and compassion. In steadying our own heart, asking, what part is mine? Where do I need to turn? If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. This is the work of humility, to trust the spark God placed in us while still leaving space for the humanity of others. During these days, we are reminded that every person, ourselves included, is fallible. To make allowance for others is a form of forgiveness. To make allowance for ourselves is the first step towards teshuvah. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat these two impostors just the same. Our liturgy echoes this wisdom. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, on Yom Kippur it is sealed, who will be exalted and who brought low. Life swings between moments of victory and moments of defeat. Neither is the full truth of who we are. The question is not what happens to us, but how we respond. Teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah, return, prayer, and justice, this is how we calm ourselves through both triumph and disaster. I've only shared a few excerpts from Kipling's poem tonight, but the final line reads, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. The days of awe are our unforgiving minutes. Each day of the 10 days of awe, each breath between 1 year and the next, each moment is a chance to turn, to heal, to repair, to grow. Shabbat Shuvah reminds us that time is precious and that even 1 minute of genuine teshuvah can transform our lives. Tonight, as we stand between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, let us take Kipling's words as a mirror for our own souls, keeping our heads in a world of blame, trusting ourselves while making space for others, facing both triumph and disaster with humility, and using each moment wisely, returning to the best of who we are. And yet there's another truth we must remember. Perfection is not the goal. There's a story of a woman who carried 2 jars of water from the well each day. One jar was perfect. The other had a crack. And by the time she reached home, the jar was only half full. The cracked jar was ashamed, apologizing for its failure. But the woman smiled and said, don't you see? Along your side of the path, flowers bloom. You have watered them every day. Without you, there would be no beauty in the world. On Shabbat Shuvah, as we imagine holding a challenge coin in our hands, we may be tempted to think only of our accomplishments, of our strengths. But the truth is, our cracks belong on that coin too. Teshuvah isn't about perfection. It's about returning with all of who we are, knowing that even our flaws can be opportunities for blessing. Shabbat Shuvah calls us, return. Return to the truth of who we are. Return to the people we love. Return to God. May we use these minutes well. On this Shabbat Shuvah, may each of us receive our coin. May we carry it into Yom Kippur, into the new year, into every day that follows, living as though we are always holding that sacred reminder. We belong. We are called. We are challenged. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.